Welcome to Screen Riot. This week's movie is Bridge of Spies, a film from 2015. This episode will contain major spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie yet, it's available to rent or buy on all the major streaming services. Go check it out and come back to the podcast because this is Screen Riot.
Welcome back to another great episode of Screen Riot. I'm Justin, and I'm joined with co-hosts Eddie, Kyle, and John. And today we are taking a look at a film from 2015 called Bridge of Spies. But before we get to that, I want to do some quick news thing that involves the whole film world that just kind of broke today. By the time this goes out to the podcast, it'll be old news. But since it's new today, Amazon and Jeff Bezos, they have purchased MGM Studios.
Yep.
For a whopping $8.45 billion.
Oh, yeah.
Billion?
Billion with a B.
Whoa.
With a B.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Unless you're Jeff Bezos, in which case he's like, hold on.
That's a Friday night.
Damn it, who's got my other pants? They've got the more billions in them.
I have like wads of billions.
Yeah, so they get all their intellectual property that comes along with MGM.
Yep.
A couple of big films. The biggest property, basically the biggest IP that they get is James Bond.
Yep.
So now they're going to be working with the Bercolis to, make future Bond movies and stuff like that. It's all going to be under the Amazon Studios moniker now.
Oh, wow.
Instead of
There
MGM.
goes the 007 Pluto channel.
Well, I was going to say, how funny
Yeah.
if
Exactly what I was about to say.
it'll be on Amazon Prime now. How funny though if this was all just Jeff Bezos' way of becoming like James Bond. Like he had like a secret childhood fantasy to be James Bond, and now he's going to be the new JamesOnd. I could see that guy's James Bond.
Or
He's
to
bald,
have
but
a cameo in one of their films or something.
he's the new
New
villain.
Blofeld.
He's the new
Yeah,
Bond.
he's
He's the new Bond villain.
Ooh.
Yeah, I could see that.
He's Blofeld.
Yeah.
And his punishment is to send him up in your barely new tested rocket.
You're the guinea pig.
That's right.
What does he do,
No,
though?
Mr. Bond, I expect you to fly.
Oh, nice.
What is he going to do? Is he going to shut down everyone's
Moonraker.
internet access?
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
Is
exactly.
that what it is?
Right? Yeah.
Gonna shut down all the websites?
I love it.
Moonraker 2.
Yes.
Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah. So anyway, I thought that was kind of interesting. That's definitely going to shake things up, I think.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
This is the first streaming service to have purchased a film production company,
Wow.
a studio.
That's true.
So
yeah, because other
It might not be the last.
yeah, other companies have already produced movies that have soaked up other movie production companies like
Yeah.
Disney and
Yeah.
Netflix and stuff like that. Well, wait, Netflix didn't buy anything yet, have
no,
they?
no.
Oh,
That's
wow.
why I was saying this is the first one.
That's right.
But who knows? Maybe Netflix sees this and goes, "Wait a minute! It's a lot easier just to grab other IPs than come up with their own."
Yeah, true.
And they go do that to, I don't know, Lionsgate or something.
Well, I know. Yeah, I don't know. I know Netflix hasn't bought a studio, but they do purchase a lot of British films and British sitcoms and stuff like that, and put the Netflix moniker on
Right.
them and re-release them on Netflix.
Yeah, I've seen a couple shows like that.
Yeah. Well, so the movie that we're going to be talking about today, like we said, was Bridge of Spies. So if you haven't seen the movie, to give you a little bit of background, in 1957, during the height of the Cold War, Rudolph Abel, played by Mark Rylance, who was just in another movie that we just reviewed,
Dunkirk.
in Dunkirk,
Yeah.
is arrested and charged with spying for the Soviet Union. Insurance lawyer James Donovan, played by Tom Hanks, is appointed to defend Abel so that Abel's trial will be seen as fair to the public. Abel is convicted and sentenced to 30 years, but Donovan convinces the judge to spare Abel the death penalty. During this time, a U.S. spy plane is shot down over the Soviet Union, and its pilot, Francis Gary Powers, is sentenced to 10 years in prison over there. The CIA unofficially asks Donovan to negotiate the prisoner swap. However, he believes in exchange for Abel, he can get both Powers and Frederick Pryor, an American student who was recently arrested in East Germany.
Yep.
Kind of a complicated little movie here.
Yeah.
When you really think about all the politicking, that stuff that goes on. So the film is 2 hours and 22 minutes. It's rated PG-13 and is directed by Steven Spielberg. I don't think we have to go into who Spielberg is very much at all.
Who's that guy?
I've not heard of this gentleman.
Yeah. I was curious, though, when was the last time that he won an Oscar for Best Directing, though?
Like last
Anybody
year,
know? Anybody want to
year
guess?
before?
No, I have no idea.
1996.
Lincoln?
You're close.
Forrest Gump.
99.
Oh,
Oh.
wow, 99.
For Saving Private Ryan.
Also a Tom Hanks movie.
Yep.
True.
Yeah.
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 So that was the last time that he was nominated and won. So he hasn't even been nominated for Best Director since 99.
Wow.
Is
What
this
is
is this our first Spielberg movie?
I think it might
I
be like
think it
a Spielberg
is.
directed movie. Yeah, probably.
I think it is.
I
He
think
may
it
have. He
is.
may have produced a couple.
I can't think
On
of
our
anything
list,
off the top of my
but
head.
I can't either, and I think this is our first Tom Hanks movie as well.
Yes. But that might be on purpose because Tom Hanks is...
Eh.
You shut your mouth.
I like Tom Hanks.
This is a family show, and I
Yeah.
will say something bad.
Yeah.
I just don't want to
It's
travel
not a
with Tom
family
Hanks.
show, let's be honest.
Yeah. Don't travel with Tom Hanks.
A boat. He's taken hostage by pirates on a plane. He lands on the
Sully,
Hudson.
Yep.
On another plane, he crashes onto a deserted island.
Yeah, he's
Yep.
he's deserted. If he's in a war, he's shot up on his boat. Like, and if he's a submarine captain, he's shot up there too. I'm like,
Yeah, but hold on.
Or
You're-
not a submarine captain, a boat captain.
You're starting way too late in his career, though. You got to go back earlier. You know, you got to be careful
Like
about
Joe
him
the Volcano.
randomly waking up
yeah.
and being a 12-year-old boy that's suddenly not 12 anymore, or when he almost throws a girl into a goddamn volcano at one point. Yeah,
Or
things
when
like
he can't
that.
sleep in Seattle.
Exactly. And Meg Ryan is
Oh,
twisted about her feelings.
She was pretty good looking in that movie.
I'm not saying she wasn't. Meg Ryan was very beautiful back in the day. Yeah, Meg Ryan in French Kiss is one of my all times. But anyhow,
So this
yeah.
was the 2015 movie, which means
family
it
showed my
was.
ass.
I stand corrected.
Which means it
Showed
was,
me my place.
Which means it was in the 2016 Oscars. So it was nominated for original score, Thomas Newman, he's a good.
He's good,
He's
but
good.
I didn't hear hardly jack in this movie.
Really?
And,
It was mostly
yeah.
silent, which I get the need for it. Like I don't think there was a need for an epic score in this movie, but where the music was needed, I was kind of,
It was subdued.
yeah, it was very
It
subdued.
was subtle. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Well, kind of interesting. John Williams, famous collaborator with Spielberg. This was the first movie that they did not work together on.
Really?
Because Williams had a medical condition, which I'd have to look it up to see what it
wow.
was because I don't remember. But he wasn't able to work on the movie, so Spielberg tapped Thomas Newman.
Yep.
And he even went to Newman. He's like, "Look, I know my history with John Williams. You are a huge John Williams fan. I'm a huge John Williams fan. Don't try to be John Williams. Just be Thomas Newman in this."
Yeah, and
So, that's
he's
kinda cool.
definitely one of my top composers
Yeah.
for sure.
So it was nominated for original score, nominated for production design, nominated for sound mixing, nominated for original screenplay, and nominated for best picture. So it didn't win any of those. It did win. It did win supporting role for Mark Rylance.
Oh yeah,
Did it help?
yeah. Did it help,
Would it help?
or would it help?
Well, I don't know. Well, he was casted apparently because Spielberg saw him in a play. And he loved him so much that he cast him in there. And then Mark Rylance later won 2 Tonys for that play that he was in too.
Wow.
So,
So let me ask you this real fast. So who did win production design?
I don't know. In my notes, I typically just write who got best picture.
I'll look it up real quick.
Reason why I ask is that's one of the things I'm actually very impressed about with this movie is that this movie feels like 1960. Like I don't watch it and go,
You're right. It does.
It feels very like you're watching kind of like real life that happened. Which I did a little bit of history on the movie because I was like, after our Hidden Figures debacle, I mean, that's
Right.
what I'm gonna call that fucking movie. I was just curious, how close to form was this in terms of the history, and apparently pretty close. Like there was almost no. I mean, it was actually praised by some historical society for its accuracy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which I found to
That's-
be pretty interesting.
Yeah, 2016 is actually the same year that Mad Max Fury Road came out.
Right.
And that's what won.
Oh God, really?
Yeah.
For production design.
Production design, yeah.
Man,
Mad
it's
Max.
a fine movie, but ugh.
They also won best makeup and hairstyling.
Okay,
costume design.
Oh, God.
Film editing.
Just stop. Just stop.
It,
Never mind.
it had to be the
It's swept.
vehicles.
Yeah.
in there in that movie. It had to be the vehicles.
Go back and watch that movie too.
But
it's vile.
I do
And it's
agree
not-
with the.
I like Fury Road.
I do agree with the original score though on that year. The Hateful Eight,
Oh, that's right.
fantastic score.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
I would give them.
That,
Hateful
yeah,
Eight.
that's a definite thumbs up for me.
Fury, and let's be clear, Fury Road's fine. I don't have a problem against Fury Road, but I'm not going to be giving it a bunch of awards over a Spielberg, historical drama like this.
I enjoyed Fury Road so much. I think I saw it like 3 times in theaters.
Okay.
Yeah, but historical dramas like
The
this don't really
cinematography.
do too well in Oscars.
Stuff.
Schindler's List,
Well, okay, well,
Titanic,
Saving Private Ryan.
well, no.
Saving Private Ryan.
Chocolat.
I love you, but I'm sorry.
Well,
Gandhi.
The Color Purple.
but hear me out.
Gone with the Winds.
It has to be the right story though.
Okay, fair enough. Maybe that was the big defining point.
And if you narrow this down to what actually happened, it's a dude that got a guy or 2 guys out of East Germany.
Okay, so that's true, but it was also one of the most publicized spy situations ever. Like in
Right.
our history of like there
In
was
a
all this
stressful time.
Yeah, there was all this assumption that spying and all that kind of stuff was taking place, but here was like, oh wait, no, we actually caught them. Like it's real.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then when they put our guy on trial as well, it became this warring, like, well, you did it, yes, but you did it first. So no, you did it, and that it was. I mean, it's the Cold War. So
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I agree. It's not Saving Private Ryan. I agree it's not Titanic. I agree
Yeah.
it's not whatever other one I just named. Forrest Gump. I'm not going to... Anyway, I agree it's not those, but it's still pretty damn good. And compared to Fury Road, I just can't believe... Because, I'm sorry, production design for Fury Road was like desert. They had really good sand in that one. You know what I mean? Like, I actually felt like I was... I mean, you watch them... You're watching them build the Berlin Wall.
But they
fucking
had to.
powerful,
But they had to
man.
actually wait. Wasn't this one of the movie that they had to wait
They had to wait years and years because the
because
desert
they actually had rain that
it rained
year?
for the first time in like decades.
Are we talking about Fury Road again?
Yeah.
Okay, we're doing
That's
Bridge
right.
of Spies.
I know.
Yeah, no, I know.
I just thought we'd pull an Eddie and talk
No,
about
you're
another
good.
movie for 5 minutes.
No, in all
Yeah.
seriousness, no, I get you on the Fury Road thing, but going back to Bridge of Spies, I mean, we watched them build the Berlin Wall in the movie.
Right.
I think that's a powerful statement of what's
Yeah.
taking place.
And
So-
to watch all the people like freaking out, like
Yeah.
you're literally dividing a street and a
dividing
city.
families.
Yeah.
Like there's one. If you look closely, there's one shot of that where you see a daughter and a wife, and they're screaming and they're being held back by East German soldiers. And on the other side of the wall that's being built, the father is trying to get to the. Or no, the West German soldiers.
Yeah.
The East German soldiers are holding back the father on the other side of the wall.
Right.
I mean.
And then you had the
Stressful.
wall like kind of hitting right next to a house,
Yep.
and it's like it.
And
the
they're
house
jumping
is,
out
People
of the
were using
window.
the house to
Yeah.
get over it.
The
Yeah.
house is now the wall.
Yeah, they're jumping through the
It's
windows
like
to get out.
how
Yeah.
terrifying would that have been?
It's horrible, but sand in Fury Road.
Yeah.
Anyhow, go ahead.
They definitely in this movie did capture that, like during the process of building the wall, the tenseness of all of that.
Well, when he goes to Germany, when he goes to Berlin, that to really turned this movie. Because, like,
Yes.
for the most part, I agree with you. It's like it's a courtroom drama without the drama. Like
Yeah.
they skip over most of the actual time in the
They
courtroom.
skip over the courtroom. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like 10 days of deliberation, and you're like, what, there was? Like, really? Because when did that happen? We found out it was 10 days through a newspaper reading, you know what I mean? So they skip over that, and then there's some, like, closed doors stuff with the judge. There's a lot of him talking to his partners who apparently abandoned him.
Yeah.
And then now we're going to Berlin.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And once they got to Berlin is whenever it really kind of picked up,
Yeah.
I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no,
I
you're-
agree.
Yeah, I agree.
Because if it didn't go there, it would just be like a kind of like a remake of To Kill a Mockingbird
Yes.
in a sense.
In a weird way, yeah.
You know, because you got the angry mob of people that want some sort of verdict, and then you've got the guy who's actually like, well, wait a minute, you have to actually prove that he did this.
Yeah.
Like let's look through our constitution here, folks. Like let's go through the rule of law. There are rules here.
There are rules.
Well, speaking of our rules, by the way, I just realized we kind of jumped you off on your awards thing. Did you have
Yeah.
anything else before we went on?
I mean, I was gonna let us go since we kind of skipped over it, but I mean, basically the movie that won Best Picture in 2016 was Spotlight,
Oh,
Which I never even
which I
saw.
never saw yet. I
I've
haven't
seen
seen
it.
it.
I've seen it.
Is it any good?
It's disturbingly good.
Yeah.
What is it?
It is about the column spotlight in the Boston Globe that during their investigation of the Catholic Church
Okay.
and their sexual abuse allegations.
Yeah.
And they're the ones
They
that,
broke the
started.
story,
They
right?
broke the story of all these
Oh, okay.
hundreds and hundreds of victims of the Catholic Church.
Gotcha.
So
What was that movie? Do you guys remember that movie that had? I think it had Kevin Bacon. I feel like it was Kevin Bacon, but it
Footloose.
was no. That's the second time today that's come out too. No, it was about these four boys who were raped by a priest, and they go back when they're adults to like get vengeance on him or something.
Wow, Kevin Bacon movie?
I think
like
it was
that?
Kevin Bacon. I might be
Wow.
wrong. It might not be
I'm not
Kevin
sure.
Bacon. Yeah, I'll have to look it up. I feel like it was maybe Wonder Boys, maybe, but it doesn't matter. I'll look it up later.
Well, some other nominees for Best Picture that year was The Big Short,
Good movie.
Brooklyn, Mad Max Fury Road, The Martian, The Revenant, and Room.
Room, not The Room.
Not The Room.
Not The
but
Room.
Room.
Which one's Room?
I don't remember. I never saw it.
Let me see. I'm just curious real fast. Room. Is that the one? You said 2016, right?
Yeah.
It would have been 2015, though?
Yeah.
And I want to go back to Mark Rylance real quick.
Yes, of course. Go ahead.
Up until Bridge of Spies, he was in some stuff, but up until Bridge of Spies, that from Bridge of Spies on, he's in like really really good movies in my opinion. Not really really good because the next one's going to be Dunkirk. Is okay, but he was at the
Thanks.
BFG, Dunkirk, Ready Player One, and also in the Trial of the Chicago 7, which came out last year, which I enjoyed.
I totally forgot he was in Ready Player One. He was the game master or whatever it is.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, that's right. He was Holiday.
Yeah.
He's a little bit of a chameleon because, like, when you guys said he was in Dunkirk, my first thought was like, was he just some random like in the back soldier?
He's in the story that we all like.
He's the
with
yeah,
boat. He's the
the
civilian
citizen
boat
boat,
captain.
yeah.
and he's actually in pre-production on 6. He's in post-production on 4 films, pre-production on another, and announced on another.
Dang.
So yeah, he's a busy
busy.
dude.
Busy dude.
man.
Well, so going back to Bridge of Spies,
Yeah.
so I looked up some trivia here, some things I found interesting. So like the Donovan character, he wasn't just an insurance lawyer because I've seen this movie before. This is my second time seeing it. I liked it a little bit better the second time.
I did too.
Same.
I did not really like it the first time I saw it. And one of my gripes was just the weirdness of why would the U.S. government go to an insurance lawyer for these high-profile, high-stakes
yeah.
negotiations?
But then again, in the movie, they did say that he was a criminal lawyer in his pastime.
right? Well,
Yeah.
that I missed.
Oh.
But so I looked into it, and before joining the law firm in the movie, well, in the guy's real life, he was the general counsel for the OSS.
Yeah, he was
Oh,
at the
interesting.
Nuremberg trials.
Yes.
And they
Oh.
mentioned that a couple times in the movie.
Yeah, well, that's what I was saying. Is that like that
Yeah.
totally went over my head somehow.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he was on the prosecution team.
Yeah, and if you don't know, the OSS was the precursor to the CIA.
Right.
So
Yeah, and that
That's awesome.
that law firm that he's a part of, he's actually one of the 2 founding members of that law firm. And like I said, they got most of this shit correct. Like they went through and the historical society that I saw that praised the movie that was saying how accurate it was. They were like, yeah, they sensationalized like a couple of things. Like for instance, whenever he gets his jacket stolen in East Berlin, that didn't happen.
right.
Right? That didn't happen. What did happen was he was walking down the street in East Berlin, freezing his ass off, couldn't find where he was supposed to go, and he came across a group of East German thugs. The East German thugs were nice enough to tell him where to go, but they were smoking cigarettes in his face the entire time and were like super tough the whole time he dealt with them. That's what took place.
Wow.
So it's like little things like that they
Yeah.
changed. Other than that, the story's pretty damn accurate. Oh, he was never shot at. The house never got shot up,
Right.
but they did say that he received multiple death threats.
Oh, I'm sure he would,
Huge
yeah.
amounts of death threats. And he actually wrote into his memoirs that he felt like him and his whole family felt that they were walking around in this sort of like haze of dread where they were afraid for their lives like the entire time. And that's what I guess Spielberg put the shots in there, was to sort of quickly show they felt like their lives were threatened all the time. But how do you show that if nothing physically necessarily took place?
Yeah,
right.
I do like the scene where he's in the bus, and they actually do this twice, which is pretty cool. The first time, his picture is in the paper of him defending the known spy or whatever, and everybody's just looking at him like, you piece
bastard.
of shit.
Yeah,
You know, how in the world can you actually defend this guy knowing
Right.
that he's a spy? He's the one selling secrets to the Soviet Union. You,
Yep.
you little bitch. Like, what the hell's going on with society? Like, just go ahead and hang him, shoot him, do something, you know?
Yep.
But then later on in the movie, when he used him as a pawn almost,
Yes.
as an exchange piece to get 2 Americans back. Now he's actually looked at as like, oh my God, you're a hero.
Oh, he had to do that too. He even says, apparently in his memoirs, he even said, he's like, he knew that he had to get both of those guys back here. Had he not done that, he's not sure what would have happened to it. Because, like I said, the partners all but kicked his ass out of his own law firm. Like that
crazy.
one scene where they shut the door in his face, like the secretary shuts the door and he gets shut out. That was real. That actually took place, and the partners had essentially stopped talking to him because he did his job that they asked him to do.
Yep.
He essentially was ostracized from his own law firm.
Well, they wanted
God.
him to do it, but not to the scope.
Do
that
your
he
job,
did it.
but not really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
pathetic.
Well, and apparently the judge, the judge's bias,
Yes.
that was all real. Like,
Well, I can understand it.
I believe it back then. I mean, we're
Yeah.
talking a time where you were subpoenaed by the United States government, the Congress Investigative Committee or whatever it was called, just on a whim. They, he's a communist, and they bring you in for a day or two to question you.
Yeah, you're talking about the McCarthy trial.
I absolutely
Yeah.
loved, speaking of the judge being biased, there was a scene where he was looking at all the evidence and everything, and he was like, how did you get all this stuff? Like, where did all this stuff come from? And it was like, oh, some of it was in a studio and some of it was in an apartment. And he was like, where's the warrant? Where's the search warrant for the apartment? And you're like, we didn't need it. And you're like, what? Hold up. And so then he took that to the judge, and the judge was like, screw that. We don't need a warrant. Like, what warrant? You have no grounds. It's like, dude, it's the Constitution.
Yeah.
We have to.
All they wanted was an appearance.
Yes.
That law
A
was
show.
being followed.
Yeah. They just wanted this to all be a show, quick trial. He's executed, and away we go.
yeah. Go ahead.
Well, and I was thinking, in historical context, in real life historical context, imagine if the judge had not listened to him and they executed.
Yeah.
They executed the
Abel.
Abel, yeah.
None of the Bay of Pigs, where he ends up convincing Castro to not only release the 1,100 people that he was sent over there for, but another
9,800.
9,800 people.
Yeah.
That was an intense stat that showed up at the very end. I was just like, holy cow.
Yeah. Had no idea.
That's amazing. I really do like these movies that are based on true events and true people. Like, these are actually real people that they show, like, okay, what are they doing now? Or, what did they go on to do and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I really do like that. It definitely, it puts a nice little ribbon on top of the movie. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, here's the ending, but here's the closing. Like, here's what all happened after this.
Yeah. Since we're talking about based on true events, so there was a book that came out called Bridge of Spies. That it was from the point of view of the 2 soldiers, the 2 POWs.
Oh,
But then there was another book that came out written by Donovan. He released a book after the experience that was told from his point of view, and that's the book that this movie's based off of.
Gotcha.
okay.
And it was called Bridger of Spies.
No, it's called Strangers on a Bridge.
Gotcha.
I believe.
okay.
Bridgier of
Bridge
Spies.
Bridge of More Spies.
Bridgest of Brides. Spies.
I like the Bridge of More Spies.
Yeah. By the way, that movie I was talking about with Kevin Bacon is Sleepers.
Sleepers. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
did you guys ever see that from
no.
1990s?
I don't
It's
think
got,
so.
dude, listen to this cast list real fast. Robert De Niro, Kevin Bacon, Brad Pitt, Jason Patrick, Billy Crudup, Ron Eldard, Minnie Driver, Dustin Hoffman, Terry Kinney. I mean, it's got like who's who, and it's basically about 4 kids who go to a detention center and horrible things
You know
happen
who
to
it
them.
doesn't have?
Who?
Matt Damon.
No, it doesn't have Matt Damon, and it doesn't have what's this guy's name?
But
who
this-
is
but
in every
Matt
damn movie
Damon
now?
has
Budget
Matt Damon in this one.
Oh, Budget Matt Damon, by the way, was in that movie Battleship, that horrible movie that was based off the board
Yes.
game Battleship. He's in that
Oh,
movie.
was he?
And when
Yeah.
I saw him first in Battleship, I was like, is that Matt Damon? Matt
like-
Damon's not looking good.
He got a little chubby.
But just in the ear section somehow. Yeah.
So I was curious how this.
He really lost it after The Martian. I'm sorry.
I wonder if he markets himself as Budget Matt Damon.
I would. I would.
His agent's
I would
like,
embrace
listen,
it.
I heard you guys needed Matt Damon. I got second best.
I can still act.
I heard you want Matt Damon, but you want to save money.
Exactly. 1995. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
So I was curious. I looked up this Abel guy, and I was curious to see how he actually got caught. I wanted to see if the movie was real or not.
Oh, yeah.
So here's the story. So the FBI first became aware of Abel in 1953. Remember, this movie
Wow.
starts in 57.
Right.
Right. So he jumped on their radar when Abel's junior colleague Reno Heihanen, he bought a newspaper, but he accidentally used one of the hollow nickels that the spies were using to pass coded messages to each other. And the paper boy said that it felt odd. It felt light. And he accidentally dropped it on the ground and it popped open.
Oh.
And it had microfilm and a coded message and stuff inside of it.
Whoops.
So, yeah.
And I believe
Not
the spy was quoted as saying, Dankeschön, or something. I don't know.
No.
Donka Shane.
Yeah, right.
No. Go ahead.
So after Abel learned of this incident,
Oh, dear.
Yes.
Abel learned of this incident, right? And he ordered that Heihanen to return to the USSR.
Yes.
But Heihanen, knowing what could be his fate, basically going over there and saying, I got caught or something.
Yep.
He defected to France, and in Paris he went to the American FBI over there, and basically ratted him out,
Yeah.
ratted Abel out,
Wow.
and he told them how to decode the message. He told them where everything was.
Yeah, the only thing slightly different that I heard was that Abel had actually reported him back to the USSR, and that's why the junior spy there, which decoder ring is the only thing I can think when you say junior spy, but that's one of the reasons why he didn't want to go back, was that Abel had already reported on him back to the USSR,
okay.
Oh,
and
wow.
that he was like, I'm not going back, and then he defected to France. But that was,
Gotcha.
yeah, that's exactly word for word what I heard. So, and again, I like that this movie is dramatic and has all the pieces, but is actually accurate. Hidden Figures.
Still a good movie.
I didn't say it wasn't. I
know.
enjoy it. Just,
I know.
I lost,
I
lost
just-
my respect.
I shouldn't have said anything, and it would have probably been a higher score, and I could have had a higher score movie, but oh well.
You probably could have.
I just shot myself in the foot.
Say la vie.
Yeah. No, but that coin thing, that was a really neat tactic back then to have
Dude,
that
if you ever
hollowed
get a
out
chance,
coin.
Spycraft from the 60s and 70s, or
Yeah.
50s, 60s, and 70s, that shit is crazy. Some
Oh,
of
I
the
know.
stuff they
Well,
came
I
up
wanted to
with.
mention
Yeah.
if you're into this kind of stuff, this documentary kind of stuff,
Yeah.
on Netflix, there's a great streaming series called Spycraft, I think.
Is that what it's called?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, it's super fantastic. It goes over just crazy stories of the tools of the trade and their methods and all that stuff. If you're interested in that kind of thing.
It's called Burn Notice. It's on Netflix. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
No, I think it's actually called Spycraft.
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
But since we're talking about accuracies of the movie too, I wanted to throw this out here real quick. So Francis Gary Powers Jr., the son of
Yes.
the U.S. pilot that in the film,
Right.
he said that it's slightly inaccurate with the stuff that involves his father
Okay.
in the movie. Basically, he said that the U.S. government they weren't so forceful in saying you have to kill yourself if you're caught.
Okay.
They were saying this is an option
Oh, okay.
for you. Okay.
You're not going to be turned away and looked at as a coward,
Right.
if you don't.
Yeah, he said that was not so forceful, I guess you could say, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But when he was caught, the Soviets didn't find that pin
Okay.
until the third strip search.
Holy cow.
So where do you think he hid it?
I'm thinking his prison pocket.
I think so too.
Yeah, me too.
Now, why they didn't look in the prison pocket in the
Family
first
show.
in the first two strip searches, I don't know, but apparently it was the third time's the charm.
Yeah, they were
And
like,
they
"Oh,
found
it's
it."
behind my ear."
Yeah.
Oh.
But apparently he once they found it, he pleaded to them. He's like, "No, don't touch it. It's terrible. It's bad or whatever."
Yeah.
So they took it and they tested it on a dog, and apparently the dog died within
Jesus.
30 seconds or
Holy
something.
cow.
Wow. Yeah.
It's Russia. They don't care. That's fine.
Well, it's just the effectiveness of
Yeah,
that,
I know.
of
I'm
that
just-
needle.
I was just saying.
I did like the line though, the guy that was telling about the needle and stuff like that in the dollar. He's like, if you're captured, spend the dollar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is Francis Power Jr. Francis Gary Powers Jr. He makes a cameo in the movie. He's one of the
Oh, he's one of the pilots.
one
in
of
there?
the one of the trainers.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I like that. That's
Yeah, that is pretty awesome.
I was reading some reviews of this movie, and even though Roger Ebert is passed away before 2015, on RogerEbert.com, the writer says, "Why was America the best country in the world after World War II? Because we had men like Jim Donovan, and yet Hanks doesn't overplay that heroism." Finding the perfect balance between extraordinary and ordinary person, Spielberg and company even give Donovan a coughing, sneezing cold in the final act, highlighting that this flesh and blood man is far from 007.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I kind of his goal, he just wants to get home back to his family.
Well, and that's what I was going to... Actually, that brings in what I was going to say. The thing that I think Spielberg did really well, and this is not as subtle as the sneezing, coughing, gave a guy a cold so he looks like a flesh and blood guy. But I like that they built out the sort of Cold War hysteria, sort of subtly with the kids.
Yeah.
They kept going
yeah.
back
Yeah, I
to
forgot about that. Okay.
the classroom of they're watching the video of how to deal with the bomb. You're supposed to duck and cover like a turtle because that's going to save you.
Nope.
They have his son doing plans in the bathroom and keeping the bathtub filled and stuff because when the bomb dropped.
Yeah, that was interesting.
It was, there's a lot of stuff that they do to sort of build the texture of this society and where that hysteria would go and why we would be at such a point where we're like, why isn't he killing him? Why are we killing him? Well, that doesn't seem normal. That seems a little odd to just randomly scream out. But if you get the whole picture of what kind of, fear they were living in, it makes it more understandable at that point.
Yeah.
And I
That's
think
true.
I think that was well done. That was very, very well
It's
done.
almost like they took the kid route to show what everybody else was feeling of okay, this could happen at any time.
Mm-hmm.
Once the sirens happen, it's too late, to do all this prep work. So start the prepping.
When I think it also there's two things that it does to Donovan. One, I felt that Donovan was a little bit cold towards his family because they don't show his family very much, and the few times they do, whenever he calls home and he's like, "Hey, can I speak to the son?" and she's like, whatever she says, he's not there. And he's like, "Oh, well, what about the girls?" Well, do they even know I'm gone?
Yeah.
I was like, well, no, dude, actually you're kind of cold to them because I also imagine that the parents back then, being a parent myself, I'm affected by how my kids are dealing with the coronavirus shit. They got to wear masks every day. They I asked my son this year because he's 8, and I was like, any cute girls in the class? Just trying to have a fun father-son talk for a moment, right? And he's like, I don't know, maybe. And I'm like, what does that mean? And he's like, well, what's her name's kind of cute. And I'm like, really? And he's like, I think. I'm like, what do you mean you think? I'm like, is she or isn't she? I can't really see her face most of the time. And I'm like, oh shit, that's a good point. You're walking around like that. So if 30 years from now, 40 years from now, movies are made and they're like, something takes place during the 2020s and they're trying to show parents were dealing with something with their kids with the coronavirus thing, that would be a way that they could show that is through the kids. And I think that was an interesting way to show his pros and cons, again, like John was pointing out with the guy getting a cold as well.
Yeah, and they also kind of, with your coldness, I guess, with the family, they kind of alluded to that with the family dinner.
Yes.
That was there. It's like, he's kind of, I guess he's not really there all the time.
Yeah.
But when he is there, it's all about the case that he's.
I mean, he's a law firm partner.
Yeah.
Imagine
So I
his
mean,
time is,
he's gotta be, doing cases and crap.
Yeah.
So when he's there at dinner, he's talking about his case, and his wife is like, "Well, you're not going to take it, right?"
Yeah. Did you guys get the feeling that the law firm kid was dating the daughter?
Yes.
But they never
But
built
they-
on
No,
that.
no, they're not.
They're not?
No, he made the law firm kid work
Yeah.
because he wanted the law firm kid there at dinner with the daughter.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. And she was like, "Oh God, it's him."
Yeah,
Okay.
Okay, see, I
didn't
got
pick
that.
up on that.
I
Okay.
picked up on what you did
Yeah,
because
because she turns around and makes this face.
Yeah, like, "Oh, God, it's him."
Yeah, but I guess, "Oh God, it's him. I don't want him."
I'm
Right.
pretty sure that was. I could be completely wrong.
Well, no, it's-
I mean, they could have been dating, and Hank's purpose and wanted to break
was
them
like
up.
breaking it up, maybe. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
but it's not
there
dealt
is
with
that.
in any way. I'm
or
like,
he wanted to have dinner with his daughter with his daughter that night. One
Exactly.
of the two.
I think
possible.
it's actually I think it's more on the lines of Justin and Eddie here. It's because when they were talking in Tom Hanks's office, and he was like, "Well, it's Tuesday.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, hey, it's Tuesday. Like,
Oh.
that
have dinner.
we usually go out or something like
Gotcha.
that."
and then
Okay.
when he cancels his date,
He
when
smiles.
he smiles as
like,
he's walking
"Ha-ha."
out the door. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
I didn't catch that.
And then
though.
when
Okay.
when they actually sit down for the dinner, he's motioned over to his oldest daughter. He's like, "Come on, what's wrong?" And she's like, "Well, he bailed on me or something like that."
That stood up.
I got stood
Gotcha.
up,
Okay.
and then to see him come through the door, she looks over and she's like, "Oh my god!"
It would have been nice to have
2 seconds more of
yeah,
something.
of just some kind of completion
well,
on that.
and somewhere later in the movie, we
affirmation.
never even see that kid again.
I know. Yeah, Budget Matt Damon is not.
No, that wasn't
or
Budget
no, that
Matt
wasn't
Damon.
Batman. No, that was
Budget Matt Damon was the pilot.
That's right.
yeah.
He's actually the where I know him from is actually in Get Shorty, in the epics.
What was he in Get Shorty?
He was the guy that was writing scripts or the.
Oh, that's right.
He was like the stupid dude.
Yeah, he was. He
Which
was
I
an
think
idiot actor.
he's kind of typecasted as being in that same role and everything. He's always like the
kind of the incompetent
the idiot
Yeah,
Okay.
in the movies.
Weird. Okay.
But I don't know.
that's right. I forgot that was him. Yeah.
I wish that's one piece of this movie that I find to be kind of broken is like I almost didn't need to meet his family. Like there's a part of me that I like the part with his son and that stuff. I mean, again, it shows the texture of the world, but other than that, they're throwaway conversations. I mean, they're not really needed.
Yeah,
you
Billy-
could have cut maybe 10 minutes down by just eliminating the family to an extent.
Yeah.
Well, and then when the house gets shot up, it's important that
True.
the family there too. But
Yeah, but that's
I'm with you.
I mean, there's just so little. Even in that scene, there's so little. He goes upstairs and he's like, "Oh, honey," and like holds the one daughter, and the other daughter runs right past him to the mom because she obviously doesn't feel anything with her dad.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. Again, it just kind of shows.
Because I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, it could have been done. He freaked out whenever he was being followed by the CIA
Yeah,
guy at first. He could have after that. He could have just been walking and ended up like in some type of drive-by type thing. Where
Situation.
he wasn't worried about it anymore because they I'm not being followed, haha.
Yeah.
But then he is actually being followed, so he could have gotten shot at
yeah,
and survived, like by ducking behind a car like he did.
yeah. I mean, if you're gonna rewrite history, why not rewrite history in the first place?
I wonder if he got paid really well by the government to do this.
No.
He got paid $30,000 at the time. Or no, sorry. That was the pilot. Francis Scary Powers got paid $30,000 to fly the plane, which was about $270,000
Dang.
today.
Wow.
I don't know what Donovan got paid. Sorry.
He had to have been getting paid a lot to risk his life like that. But anyway, speaking of getting paid,
Yeah.
how much do you, or actually the budget of this movie?
$120 million.
No, it's $40 million estimated, which is kind of surprising.
a lot of
I-
CGI buildings, or were those practical
well,
sets?
I'm assuming that the East German sets were kind of real. Like the
were.
majority of them were real.
Yeah.
And then the behind those were, I mean, obviously they were facades, but
Yeah, green screen. and
Yeah,
stuff.
really the only CGI that comes out in my head as being painfully obvious is the plane crash
Well,
scene.
yeah, of
Yes.
course. Yeah.
Right.
that was a pretty epic scene.
It was a pretty cool scene. I'm sorry, that plane's pretty awesome. And they,
Yeah.
and the Russians being like, how does it reach 70,000 feet? I'm like,
Tell
with
me
the
how.
motor and wings, man. Like, just
Tell
that
me
would
how
have been a
you're-
real dick.
Tell me how your damn rockets get up that
Yeah,
high. Jesus,
exactly.
I actually read a little bit about the plane too.
Did you?
Because of this movie, just to figure out like it. You know, the wingspan is so long that they have these, the wheels, the landing gear on the wings.
Yeah.
But they fall off when it takes off.
correct.
To lose weight.
Yeah. So the rings just rip off when you land.
No.
Oh no, they're just sit on top.
Oh, okay.
And they have like a skid plate too, so when it lands,
Yeah.
you don't need to have landing gear that just skids.
Well, I think
to-
in they still use these all through the Cold War and through Vietnam and all that kind of crap too. But it actually got replaced by the SR-71.
Okay.
But
Which is a badass.
now
plane.
when the U-2 landed, they actually had pickups on each side of the wings, and people would be in those pickups, and they would actually hold on to the wings until it slowed down. I'm pretty sure. I'll have to look it up, but I'm pretty
haven't
sure
read that.
that's
some,
what.
That's some hell of a coordination right there
It
between the
is.
pilot and the drivers of the trucks.
yeah,
we
Yeah.
gotta
read
get
that
to
it would.
88 miles an hour, man.
You're gonna see some serious shit.
Yeah, I read that it would land.
Yeah,
they
there's
would use
like
the
a-
skid plates.
There's
would
like
land,
a chase car
That's crazy.
that's
But
a
then-
controlled chase car.
but then they would put the
it.
wheels on one wing at a time, and then it could taxi off of the runway
That's crazy.
based off of that.
Oh, maybe no. It just crashes.
Yeah.
It's a controlled crash. Never mind.
That's a,
I just
Like,
saw
Justin's making
something.
it sound
Well,
it's a controlled
the thing
crash.
is there is a like a plane or a pickup or some sort of car that does chase it,
Okay.
and it basically is there to, like, if it does crash and burn or something like that, then it's there to, like, get the people out.
Oh, fair enough. So I mean, the controlled
Quicker.
crash thing. So it's like SpaceX's plan.
Maybe.
Too
I don't know. No.
So
It lands with style.
so $40
Yeah.
million.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the budget was $40 million. So do you think that it actually made its money back? Do you think that it was a huge success? What do you guys think?
I think it definitely made its money back, being a Spielberg, Tom Hanks, Mark Rylance vehicle.
Here's the thing, though.
And co-written by the Coen brothers.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
I don't
Co-written by
remember
the
this
Coen
being like
brothers.
a big movie though. Like 2015 when it came out, I don't remember this being like the talk of the town.
I think it was overshadowed with Mad Max though.
Might have been.
Mad Max, I remember
They
when
had
it came
they had
out.
a
Yeah.
huge like marketing budget. for that.
I'm gonna say it definitely made its money back. I'm gonna go $80 million.
Yeah. What do you think,
I'm
John?
gonna say it was successful, made its money back, but it wasn't a huge moneymaker.
We'll throw a number
Yeah.
out. What number do you think roughly it made? Because I'm saying 80. I'm doubling its amount.
I'd
So I mean,
say 150 to 200 million.
oh, so
Yeah.
that's a huge success then, because that's
I would say
almost
so.
4 times the amount, 5 times the amount.
Yeah.
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 Well,
It definitely
worldwide.
made-
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
So it made actually $165 million.
You're right in that. But that's 4 times what it had into it. So that's
Yeah.
a smash.
I guess
The
so.
the opening weekend was at 15.3 million.
Okay. So,
So-
it's decent.
So yeah, almost half.
yeah.
And that's here. I wonder what it did in Germany and Russia.
I don't know.
Oh, speaking of,
Communist Russia.
Yeah.
Movies make
Movie
you.
watch you.
there is a kind of a cool Easter egg I want to mention. Since we're talking about box office and all that, do you remember the scene when Donovan and the CIA agent are in East Berlin and they're walking by? There's a movie theater in the background.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a tracking shot and you see the movies on the billboard that are playing
On the marquee.
on the marquee.
I don't remember what it said, but I do remember seeing them. They're
Yeah.
black letters on a white background.
Yeah. Each one of them has significance. They're all important. But one of them is called Eins, zwei, drei,
Okay.
which is
One,
German
two,
for 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Which was a movie that was directed by Billy Wilder
Okay.
in 1961, which we just reviewed, Double Indemnity
Oh.
by Billy Wilder. But what's interesting about this movie that they chose to put up there is because it stars James Cagney, who plays an American businessman who works in West Berlin, and he crosses to East Berlin to negotiate with Soviet officials for the release of a political prisoner.
Interesting. I have a weird question for you though. So when Tom Hanks is in East Berlin and West Berlin and all this is taking place, isn't it supposed to be 1960?
Yes.
So then Eins, zwei, drei would be an anachronism because it's
You're right.
technically coming out before it actually came out. Or that doesn't make sense. That's weird.
It might have actually been in 1958.
1, 2, 3.
No. This movie.
No, this movie, it's definitely happening in 60.
It's either 60 or 61 that when he's in Berlin.
When he's in Berlin, yeah, because he's talking
it
about...
might have been 63. Because the whole...
I don't think so. I don't think it was that late.
I'd have to look, but I think the whole part of the Berlin stuff happens between 60 and 63.
60 and 62.
60 and 62, that's it.
Okay, so maybe... Okay, so what they shortened down to feeling like maybe a couple months is actually years. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't catch that, so...
Yeah.
Gotcha.
The other reason the other movies, which I can't remember the names, but they were all written by Trumbo, who was famously on the Hollywood blacklist because people thought that he was a communist.
That makes sense.
So that's why they threw his stuff up there because, the overarching theme of this movie
would obviously be super popular over there.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
So, so let's take a look at what the audience thought of Bridge of Spies. They gave it an 87%.
Wow.
And the critics gave it a 90%. So I actually thought the audience would be higher than that.
I did too. It's kind of surprising.
I don't know. It is a little slow. I mean, the beginning part's kind of slow. To be honest, the ending part, once they're like, we're on the bridge is 15 minutes long, 10 minutes long, and they're just standing looking at other people across the bridge.
They're waiting for the college guy.
I agree with you, but it's a little slow.
Well, it's more of a... I mean, you think of the just the title, Bridge of Spies. A lot of people just go see movies on the title, right?
True.
Bridge of Spies, okay, yeah, it's a spy movie. No, it's not.
It's a lawyer movie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not a spy movie. I mean, Hanks is not running around, running, jumping, climbing trees. And
I think the only spy stuff that we see is the whole coin thing.
Yeah.
That's the only spy stuff that we see.
Well, in the plane. The
Yeah, the
spy
plane.
plane.
Oh,
The
yeah,
spy
and the
plane,
plane too, yeah. They're not really spies.
No,
I guess
fair
they
enough.
are. But
They are.
They're spying.
They're spies.
Well,
they're
they're
working
CIA.
for the CIA.
Yeah, I guess they are spies.
Yeah,
They got cameras.
They get hired into the CIA with those giant ass lenses.
Right?
Oh, my gosh.
So I agree with you, John. I do think if, though, I was a person who looked at the title and went, I'm going to see a movie called Bridge of Spies, I don't know if I'd be let down that the whole movie didn't take place on a bridge. But
no, I mean, you're talking about Bridge of Spies. You're talking about, okay, Tom Hanks, Spielberg.
Yeah.
You're as an average moviegoer, you're looking, okay, this is going to be this epic film. I mean, Hanks, Spielberg, World War II,
yeah.
best.
Saving Private Ryan.
Saving Private Ryan, best historical drama or historical war movie ever made, right?
Yeah.
So you're looking at that, and then you sit there and you go, meh, because you're not expecting a spy movie.
Yeah.
And then a plane explodes. No.
It's true.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yes, speaking about one more thing before we go into our scores for this, talking about inaccuracies and all that. The Frederick Pryor, the exchange student,
Yeah.
right? He gets arrested in the movie. We see him basically saving his girlfriend, right, from being arrested and all. Didn't happen.
Why? Why would you say this? He's already on the fence. I'm pointing at Eddie, everyone.
Well, he said he already did tons of research on this. He probably knows this. But no, it didn't happen. The writers, who Ethan, Joel, and there's one more writer that I can't think of, but they all kind of agreed that what really happened wouldn't sell to the audiences. So what really happened is the what was his name? Frederick Pryor. The whole reason that he was arrested was because he was trying to cross the wall to return a library book before it went overdue and before the wall would be completed and he wouldn't be able to do it.
What a goody two shoe.
Well, the thing is,
what a goody two shoes homely American thing to do. I got to return my library book.
well, so here's the thing. So I agree that the returning of the library book, not as good of a sell as the trying to save the East German girl from being stuck in East Germany.
Yeah.
However, I also don't think it matters much.
No,
the
not
guy
really.
actually existed at least, and they did trade him and Powers to for the one spy.
Yeah.
So
I just thought it was a funny story.
well, yeah. I mean, I almost wish they had kept it as a library book for a library book, just to have Tom Hanks be like, "What the hell were you? I'm just curious. what was going through your mind exactly? Like, they're building a wall. It's all really obviously bad. And you're like, oh, wait, late charges. Like, what?
He hands him a copy of the book. Say,
Yeah.
here, I bought it for you.
Exactly. That would have been a great.
That would have been a great.
Ending to that movie. Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
think the writers
technically, he
missed
did
out.
have a book with him.
Well, he had his
Had a
dissertation.
dissertation.
Or a
Yeah.
dissertation. Dissertation.
Which, by the way, did you catch that was his only copy?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you know why?
Because they didn't have computers.
Typewriter?
Yeah, and back then you had to type that shit and just sit there and go through and either use that or the carbon copy where you like poked out the letters and fed it into a machine and it would print your stuff out. But it took forever.
Oof.
Forever.
I mean, they didn't have a Kinko's on every corner.
Nope, they didn't. No, especially not in East Germany.
Yeah, with all the buildings demolished and everything.
Go to Gutenberg's. He'll print
Yeah.
it for you.
Oh, Gutenberg.
In East Germany, it was called a Pinko's. Oh, sorry, as in Pinko Kami. If I have to explain it, it's not as funny.
No, we were going to
Anyway.
laugh.
on.
You beat us to it. You
Move
just
on.
assumed.
I was just
you
waiting
just
for the-
assumed, mansplainer.
Just move on.
I was waiting for the man's blade.
I did it. I explained it.
Well, John, what do you give Bridge of Spies?
Jesus.
Okay, so I'm with you. I the first time I watched the movie, I didn't quite like it. It wasn't what I was expecting, as the average moviegoer at the time.
You were expecting Bridge or the River Kwai.
I was expecting
Oh.
something not as subdued.
That's a good one.
But my second time watching it was this time, and I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the production aspect. I enjoyed Tom. I think this is one of Tom Hanks's best roles. Really, I think he really brought the character to life, and didn't go over the top with it, because you could have really he could have played it completely differently. But I think he really captured the character. I'm gonna give this one a 7.8.
Okay, 7.8 from John. So I guess that means it's my turn. Yeah, so again, I didn't really like it the first time I saw it. Only slightly liked it a little more this time. I think Spielberg has a problem with complicated plot lines. Like the other movie that just comes to the top of my head is like Munich. Has anyone seen
Yeah.
super complicated, hard to follow to me anyway.
Okay.
What, it's not, you don't think so?
I thought it was pretty clear. Like,
Don't
Oh,
get
yeah,
the
you're right.
mansplainer.
You're right.
Israelis going after Palestinians.
Don't
that,
get 'em
or
riled
not-
up.
Yeah.
Iranians, I mean, just saying. That was pretty clear.
No, but it's also like one of his lowest grossing movies too.
Oh yeah, but it's fucking
So-
awesome.
But I don't know. This was shot the cinematography in here. I do like one of my favorite scenes is when Donovan is talking to the CIA agent in that office, and I can't remember who they're talking to. There's a third party there who's basically saying you got to go do the negotiation for the prisoner swap. Spielberg is a master at blocking for sure, because he puts there's an awesome shot where Donovan is sitting in the chair on the left, and then the CIA guy's head is in the middle, and then the other guy's in his office chair on the right, and the psychology behind that, and then they get up, and the CIA guy comes and moves and sits next to Donovan, so it's like they're agreeing with each other at that point in the story, but then they all get up and they all split, and then they use the literal threshold of the door to signify that they're no longer in agreement as Donovan's leaving. There's a lot of psychology in that scene that I really like. And that's Janusz Kaminski and all that with Spielberg. And then the other great shot that I like is on the train when we have that point of view shot and we see, the guy trying to scale the wall and he gets shot and all that. And then later towards the end, see the kids scaling the fence, and they use that same point of view shot. I really like that stuff.
And that touched me, actually. I forgot to mention that earlier.
Yeah.
We got off on a tangent, and that really touched me whenever the second shot. I mean, the first shot shocked me, but the second shot with the kids jumping over the chain link fence was like, wow, how lucky are we?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna give it maybe a 6.8, I think.
Okay.
Okay, so I like the movie. I do. I actually said right after John picked it, I was like, I almost rewatched that this weekend. I've seen it a few times, but this is the first time I've kind of sat down and dissected it. And yeah, I think it's pretty solid. I mean, it's not amazing. It doesn't, it doesn't blow my hair back. It doesn't, I'm not going to sit around and be like, I want to watch something with like real excitement tonight. Bridge of Spies, probably not. But but in terms of like the thing that I liked about it is kind of the same thing I complained about with Hidden Figures. Like Hidden Figures, those women did do amazing things, right? And I just wish that the people who were writing the screenplay and who were writing, who were developing the film could have found the drama and the excitement in the things that they did and made the film about that, as opposed to rewriting their entire lives and then being like, well, the important pieces are there. They were at NASA. Like, what the fuck? Like, come on, you're killing me here. With Spielberg here with this, I mean, he kind of went like, okay, it's an insurance salesman or insurance lawyer, I should say, who basically brokered a spy deal and go. And yet it's interesting. It kind of stands up on his own, and I feel like it's still a pretty solid movie. Cinematically, I like the shots exactly like you guys were talking about. There's a lot of push shots in this, by the way, too. A lot of like coming up slowly on people's faces and stuff. There seems to be a lot of that in this movie. Mark Rylance, I think, is the star in a lot of ways.
He's a scene stealer in this to me.
He is, and the little lines, the little half smiles between him and Tom Hanks and stuff, I think that really adds a lot to the movie. Not that Tom Hanks is up very high on my list right now, but I think that Mark Rylance, just the way that he kind of portrayed the character in by almost doing nothing,
right,
he somehow managed to portray the character very well.
Yeah.
It's very weird, but I do think he did a good job. For me, I'm going to say that this movie is a 6.5.
Okay, so Eddie
which
gave
is
it
pretty goddamn good. It's like a 10. That's a 10.
Wow.
That's a 10-2 on everyone else's scale.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm quite impressed. So, yeah, with this movie, this is, I think, the second time I've watched it. I think the first time was around the Oscars, just when everything was coming out. I kind of plopped down and was like, let me watch the Best Picture nominees type thing, right? I think, actually, you and I did that, Justin, that year.
Might have.
I'm not really sure. I think it was around the Mad Max time, but anyway.
Back when actual movies were
good.
The movies that they nominated were for the everyday man.
Yes. But I don't know. This movie did. It's been a long time since I've seen it, so everything was kind of fresh. And I like watching movies that things surprise me. There were bits and pieces that I remembered, and I'm like, okay, this was cool, this was bad, or whatever. I think overall, I'm gonna give this a 7.6.
Okay, so Kyle gets it at a 7.6. So that means that Bridge of Spies is an average of 7.2.
Nice.
For a Screen Riot score.
It's respectable.
Yeah, it had to be in the 7s.
Yeah.
You think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least mid 7s. But yeah, 7.2 is good.
Yeah.
I like it.
Eddie's just got a disappointed look on his
that's
face.
okay.
It's not, it's not a 3 or a 4.
Hold on. Let's be clear. I'm not disappointed. I was just curious by the comment of it's got to be in the 7s.
I mean,
curious.
it's no Devil's Reign, but
That's true.
I was remaking that movie earlier. Actually,
I like it.
you can come see it anytime you're ready.
no,
So we're spinning.
dear.
no
We're
thanks.
spinning for the next,
I give it a 2. Okay.
which is higher than you gave the original Devil's Reign.
by 0.2. Yeah, so now we got to spend, since that was our first round, the first month of
Yes.
season 3. Now
4
we got
movies
to start the next one. So, John, everybody's on the board again, so we need to pick for who is picking.
All right, here we go. It is going to be Justin.
Ha
Have you ever been
Animation.
first?
Yes, he's been first.
Oh, okay.
All right.
If you're not first, you're last.
Now we're going to spin for your poison.
Yes.
You ready?
Yep.
All right, here we go.
Animation.
God, I hope not.
We're Animaniacs.
Oh,
Oh, God, it's comedy.
Oh, no.
Oh no!
Please.
This is where we got Johnny Dangerous.
No shit.
How can you get
last
comedy twice now?
I know, man. I've got some good comedies too.
Too bad.
I have.
You
yet
know
to
what?
land
There's
on
still a wild
comedies.
card though. There's still a wild card out there. Who got wild card last season?
You did.
No, I got it the first season.
Oh wait, no, Justin did.
All right, so I think I'm gonna go for Bill and Ted Face the Music.
Ooh, I haven't seen that one yet.
I haven't either. It's probably gonna be awful.
So I'm the only one out of this group of people that's already seen this.
Oh, you've seen it?
Yes.
Well, guess what? You get to watch it.
You get
again.
to watch it again.
Okay.
I bet it was an awesome 2.5 in your book, wasn't it?
It was an excellent adventure.
Yeah.
I think you might be shooting a little too high, John. That's all I'm going
White
to say.
Stallions.
You know what, Kyle? You should be happy. You should be happy that Justin picks this
Why?
because it's going to score lower than Devil's Reign. I think you should be
There you
happy.
go.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nice.
You should feel
What?
good about
It's
this.
gonna
Yeah.
score below a 0.7.
It's very possible.
So,
Holy cow.
Bill and Ted
This is
Face
gonna
the
be an
Music.
epic movie.
This is obviously one of the sequels to Bill and Ted. Came out in 2020. Once told they'd save the universe during a time-traveling adventure, two would-be rockers from San Dimas, California find themselves as middle-aged dads. Oh, God.
Oh no.
Yeah. Oh.
Still trying
it gets
to
better.
crank out a hit song and fulfill their destiny. So it does star the original cast of Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter.
Now
So
they're
they
now they're
still
dads.
haven't made it.
Oh, wonderful.
I'm not gonna ruin it for you guys.
This is
You know
great.
what?
Okay.
Middle-aged dads is what we'll leave that. Go
Yep.
ahead.
So, if you haven't seen the movie, you're probably a better person. Then we will be in a week. But if you want, Misery Loves Company. So if you just go to justwatch.com, search for Bill and Ted Face the Music, you can see everywhere that it's streaming, or you could, burn money by renting or purchasing the movie. So Bill and Ted Face the Music. That'll be the next episode. So thanks for listening, everybody, and good night.
Misery Loves Company,
See ya.
by the way, is Justin's
ya.
other movie podcast name. See you
See you
later.
guys.